Good morning.
Hi everyone, welcome to Think and Grow New Rich, the online study group, looking at Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and basically getting together to help unprogram from scarcity and lack consciousness, which is pretty prevalent around us. So we've just been reading on chapter 12, which is all about the subconscious mind and how to sort of redirect it so that it moves in the same direction that you, in your conscious state, would like to go. Because often we think we want to go somewhere, but actually our subconscious mind and our energy is kind of going in a different direction. So we were just reading yesterday about the emotions that kind of make the subconscious mind go in that direction. So does anybody want to read?
I'll give it a go.
Oh, cool. Okay, Glenn, thank you. So we're on page 183, and the 7 major positive emotions. It's like the
Okay,
last bit at the end where there's a list of emotions.
okay. Let me do my share here. Right there. Okay.
Hi, Jackie.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Okay, let's see.
Got it?
We'll
Cool.
start with you are preparing yourself. Right there.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah. You are preparing yourself to influence and control the inner audience of your subconscious mind in order to hand it over to the desire for money, which you wish transmuted into its monetary equivalent. It is essential, therefore, that you understand the method of approach to this inner audience. You must speak its language or it will not heed your call. It understands best the language of emotion or feeling. Let us, therefore, describe here the 7 major positive emotions and the 7 major negative emotions so that you may draw upon the positives and avoid the negatives when giving instructions to your subconscious mind. The 7 major positive emotions: the emotion of desire, the emotion of faith, the emotion of love, the emotion of sex, the emotion of enthusiasm, the emotion of romance, the emotion of hope. There are other positive emotions, but these are the 7 most powerful and the ones most commonly used in creative effort. Master these 7 emotions. They can be mastered only by use, and the other positive emotions will be at your command when you need them. Remember in this connection that you are studying a book which is intended to help you develop a money consciousness by filling your mind with positive emotions. One does not become money conscious by filling one's mind with negative emotions. The 7 major negative emotions to be avoided: the emotion of fear, the emotion of jealousy, the emotion of hatred, the emotion of revenge, the emotion of greed, the emotion of superstition, the emotion of anger. Positive and negative emotions cannot occupy the mind at the same time. One or the other must dominate. It's your responsibility to make sure that positive emotions constitute the dominating influence of your mind. Here, the law of habit will come to your aid. Form the habit of applying and using the positive emotions. Eventually, they will dominate your mind so completely that the negatives cannot enter it. Only by following these instructions literally and continuously can you gain control over your subconscious mind. The presence of a single negative in your conscious mind is sufficient to destroy all chances of constructive aid from your conscious mind. If you are an observing person, you must have noticed that most people resort to prayer only after everything else has failed, or else they pray by a ritual of meaningless words, and because it is a fact that most people who pray do so only after everything else has failed, they go to prayer with their minds filled with fear and doubt, which are the emotions the subconscious mind acts upon and passes on to infinite intelligence. Likewise, that is the emotion which infinite intelligence receives and acts upon. If you pray for a thing, but have fear as you pray that you may not receive it or that your prayer will not be acted upon by infinite intelligence, your prayer will have been in vain. Prayer does sometimes result in the realization of that for which one prays. If you have ever had the experience of receiving that for which you prayed, go back in your memory and recall your actual state of mind while you were praying. You will know for sure that the theory here described is more than a theory. The time will come when the schools and educational institutions of the country will teach the science of prayer. Moreover, then, prayer may be and will be reduced to a science. When that time comes, it will come as soon as mankind is ready for it and demands it. No one will approach the universal mind in a state of fear for the very good reason that there will be no such emotion as fear. Ignorance, superstition, and false teaching will have disappeared, and man will have attained his true status as a child of infinite intelligence. A few have already attained this blessing. If you believe this prophecy is far-fetched, take a look at the human race in retrospect. Less than 100 years ago, men believed that the lightning to be evidence of the wrath of God and feared it. Now, thanks to the power of faith, men have harnessed the lightning and made it turn the wheels of industry. Much less than 100 years ago, men believed the space between the planets to be nothing but a great void, a stretch of dead nothingness. Now, thanks to the same power of faith, men know that far from being either dead or void, the space between the planets is very much alive, and that is the highest form of vibration known, excepting perhaps the vibration of thought. Moreover, men know that this living, pulsating, vibratory energy which permeates every atom of matter and fills every niche of space connects every human brain with every other human brain. What reason have men to believe that this same energy does not connect every human brain with infinite intelligence? There are no toll gates between the finite mind of man and infinite intelligence. The communication costs nothing except patience, faith, persistence, understanding, and a sincere desire to communicate. Moreover, the approach can be made only by the individual himself. Paid prayers are worthless. Infinite intelligence does no business by proxy. You either go direct or you do not communicate. You may buy prayer books and repeat them until the day of your doom without avail. Thoughts which you wish to communicate to infinite intelligence must undergo transformation, such as can be given only through your own subconscious mind. The method by which you may communicate with infinite intelligence is very similar to that through which the vibration of sound is communicated by radio. If you understand the working principle of radio, you of course know that sound cannot be communicated through the ether until it has been stepped up or changed into a rate of vibration which the human ear cannot detect. The radio sending station picks up the sound of the human voice and scrambles or modifies it by stepping up the vibration millions of times. Only in this way can the vibration of sound be communicated through the ether. After this transformation has taken place, the ether picks up the energy, which originally was in the form of vibrations of sound, carries that energy to radio receiving stations, and these receiving sets step that energy back down to its original rate of vibration, so it is recognized as sound. The subconscious mind is the intermediary which translates one's prayers into terms which infinite intelligence can recognize, presents the message, and brings back the answer in the form of a definite plan or idea for procuring the object of the prayer. Understand this principle, and you will know why mere words read from a prayer book cannot and will never serve as an agency of communication between the mind of man and infinite intelligence. Before your prayer will reach infinite intelligence, a statement of the author's theory only, it probably is transformed from its original thought vibration into terms of spiritual vibration. Faith is the only known agency which will give your thoughts a spiritual nature. Faith and fear make poor bedfellows. Where one is found, the other cannot exist. Chapter 13, The Brain, a broadcasting and receiving station for thought. The 12th step towards riches. More than 20 years ago, the author, working in conjunction with the late Dr. Alexander Graham Bell and Dr. Elmer R. Gates, observed that every human brain is both a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. Through the medium of the ether, in a fashion similar to that employed by the radio broadcasting principle, every human brain is capable of picking up vibrations of thought which are being released by other brains. In connection with the statement in the preceding paragraph, compare and consider the description of creative imagination as outlined in the chapter on imagination. The creative imagination is the receiving set of the brain which receives thoughts released by the brains of others. It is the agency of communication between one's conscious or reasoning mind and the four sources from which one may receive thought stimuli. When stimulated or stepped up to a high rate of vibration, the mind becomes more receptive to the vibration of thought, which reaches it through the ether from outside sources. This stepping up process takes place through the positive emotions or the negative emotions. Through the emotions, the vibrations of thought may be increased. Vibrations of an exceedingly high rate are the only vibrations picked up and carried by the ether from one brain to another. Thought is energy traveling at an exceedingly high rate of vibration. Thought which has been modified or stepped up by any of the major emotions vibrates at a much higher rate than ordinary thought, and it's this type of thought which passes from one brain to another through the broadcasting machinery of the human brain. The emotion of sex stands at the head of the list of human emotions as far as intensity and driving force are concerned. The brain which has been stimulated by the emotion of sex vibrates at a much more rapid rate than it does when that emotion is quiescent or absent. The result of sex transmutation is the increase of the rate of vibration of thoughts to such a pitch that the creative imagination becomes highly receptive to ideas which it picks up from the ether. On the other hand, when the brain is vibrating at a rapid rate, it not only attracts thoughts and ideas released by other brains through the medium of the ether, but it gives to one's own thoughts that feeling which is essential before those thoughts will be picked up and acted upon by one's subconscious mind. Thus you will see that the broadcasting principle is the factor through which you mix feeling or emotion with your thoughts and pass them on to your subconscious mind. Subconscious mind is the sending station of the brain through which vibrations of thought are broadcast. The creative imagination is the receiving set through which the vibrations of thought are picked up from the ether. Along with the important factors of the subconscious mind and the faculty of the creative imagination, which constitute the sending and receiving sets of your mental broadcasting machinery, consider how the principle of autosuggestion, which is the medium by which you may put into operation your broadcasting station. Through the instructions described in the chapter on autosuggestion, you are definitely informed of the method by which desire may be transmitted into its monetary equivalent. Operation of your mental broadcasting station is a comparatively simple procedure. You have the three principles to bear in mind and to apply. When you wish to use your broadcasting station, the subconscious mind, creative imagination, and autosuggestion, the stimuli through which you put these three principles into action have been described. The procedure begins with desire. The greatest forces are intangible. The Depression brought the world to the very borderline of the understanding of the forces which are tangible, intangible, and unseen. Through the ages which have passed, man has depended too much upon his physical senses and has limited his knowledge to physical things which he could see, touch, weigh, and measure. We are now entering the most marvelous of all ages, an age which will teach us something of the intangible forces of the world about us. Perhaps we shall learn as we pass to this age that the other self is more powerful than the physical self we see when we look into a mirror. Sometimes men speak lightly of the intangibles, things they cannot perceive through any of the five senses. And when we hear them, it should remind us that all of us are controlled by forces which are unseen and intangible. The whole of mankind has not the power to cope with nor to control the intangible force wrapped up in the rolling waves of the ocean. Man has not the capacity to understand the intangible force of gravity, which keeps this little earth suspended in midair and keeps man from falling from it, much less the power to control that force. Man is entirely subservient to the intangible force which comes with a thunderstorm, and he is just as helpless in the presence of the intangible force of electricity. Nay, he does not even know what electricity is, where it comes from, or what its purpose. Nor is this by any means the end of man's ignorance in connection with things unseen and intangible. He does not understand the intangible force and intelligence wrapped up in the soil of the earth, the force which provides him with every morsel of food he eats, every article of clothing he wears, every dollar he carries in his pockets.
Cool. Thank you, Glenn. I think that's a good place to stop for today.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you for reading.
You're welcome.
Nice job, Glenn.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, any thoughts about what we just heard about this, the vibrations of of thoughts, the brain as a radio station, and
Yeah.
communicating with infinite intelligence?
Yeah, I think it is a really interesting thing to realize that about the time he was writing this book is when great physicists were discovering the quantum mechanics, what they call quantum mechanics, which is about vibrations. And if you'll just kind of wiki that a little bit, you'll see that this idea of broadcasting and receiving is very kind of neat. And I kid my wife when she puts plants together. I say, well, you know, it's a good idea to keep them together because they actually talk in their own way through these vibrations. You know, they do, and they seem to grow better when they're grouped together for some reason. You know, so you know, this idea of vibrations and understanding the quantum mechanical aspect of our nature and of all beings, you know, is in a way kind of seen a little bit in that, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I actually learned in some personal development classes that they talked a lot about how we perceive the thoughts of people around us, and even taught, you know, to like ask yourself if you're feeling strange, or if you're thinking about things. Is this me, or am I just, you know, picking it up from somewhere else? And it's interesting to read this because this was written, you know, at the start of the last century, and it just shows that that idea has been around actually for quite a while. Because you can apply it on a practical level.
Right, and we might be considered weird for thinking that way, you know, but you know, it is interesting, you know.
Yeah, it's like, if you know how a radio works, it kind of makes sense that the thoughts we have the same impact.
Yes.
It almost makes less sense to imagine that they don't have any impact.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a good way to put it.
Sorry?
That's a good way to think of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of logical, really. It's like when you're around people, you don't always have to hear them say something to know how they're feeling. You can sense it, you know, and it's that same principle. And so it's the same. It's interesting. I find what he's saying, that it's like the universe is always listening to us. So if we're broadcasting things that we're not saying, the universe still hears it. So that's a powerful thing to realize, that, you know, it's we're always broadcasting.
Yes. And then how receptive we are, like he was saying, is the emotions that you apply, right? The emotions that you're applying, and not to use fear. Don't let fear become, because if fear comes in, then it basically shuts down your receiving station, I think, and even your sending station, you know. Yeah. And even in prayer, right? Even in prayer, it shouldn't be done out of fear. It shouldn't be. My mother used to call it fire engine religion. You know, when people would pray when they had a problem, right? Well, why not pray when you have great things, right?
Yeah.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah,
you know?
like be thankful and ask for, you know, just say
gratitude.
Right? Yeah. Also, something that might help with this is I was chatting to a friend, and she'd had a big breakthrough at an event recently by talking to someone else who had a breakthrough a few months ago and has been doing very well in her business. And I said, so what was this breakthrough? I want to know. And she said, well, her friend said, it's not about doing things in a certain way. It's about doing things in a certain way. Because, you know, like people talk a lot about you've got to do things in a certain way. And I always assumed they meant like a specific way. And in fact, what her friend said was, no, you just have to be totally sure that it's going to happen. even if you don't know how or when, but you just, it's like, you know, like if you're getting, I think of it like if you're getting on a boat, you know, a yacht master or a sailor, they don't kind of hope they won't, you know, they don't hope they'll get to their destination. They expect on getting there, and there might be things in the way, like storms, or they might go off course, but they always know that that's where they're going to go. And for me, it's that same kind of energy where it's like, okay, I'm going there. I don't have any doubt it's going to happen. I'm not going to try and control every step of the process. But it's like having that certainty. And so I find that really useful too.
That's what I was kind of trying to say yesterday. Like, I don't know exactly how it's all going to come out, but I'm certain it's going to work.
Yeah.
And it's exciting to think, like, I don't know, it gets me excited to think that it's going to happen. I'm not sure how or when or exactly.
The intention,
as long as I keep working and believing in it.
Yeah, intention is there. Intention is there, right? That's what you have to look at. That sailor is intended to reach his destination, and the infinite intelligence has given him the ability to solve whatever it takes to do it.
Exactly.
Right?
And I think a certain amount of confidence comes into play.
Yes. Yeah.
That you can build up, I think.
Yeah. Which is kind of, in a way, is the removal of fear, right? And understanding that you are enough to do whatever you have to do. You know, I think that's very important.
Yeah, and I was watching a training video yesterday, which is so good. And the guy was talking about how when he was talking to someone very successful, and no, they were talking about John Maxwell, who is a kind of personal development guy. I don't really know much about him, but someone asked him, you know, how did you become? What do you think made you become so successful? Because he's published books, he's a huge speaker, very well known, especially in America, I think. And John Maxwell said that when he was 18, he decided he was going to read for an hour every day and write for an hour every day, and not because it would give him like overnight success, but because he knew that the accumulation of doing that would help him to just grow constantly and to be going quicker and quicker towards what he wanted to do. And so he started doing it when he was 18, and when he got to the age of 25, he started to notice a small gap between him and the people he'd known most of his life. Like that he just seemed to be having more success than a lot of the people. But by the time he got to like 40, he said the gap was just huge. Most people were still the same kind of people they were when they were 18. But he had absorbed so many ideas, you know, got so many ideas from infinite intelligence, that he was just on a totally different path. And I thought that was brilliant, you know. That he saw it as an accumulation of things. I think that plays into building the confidence, Jackie, that, you know, even if in the beginning you're like, does this all really work? Which is how I felt. The more you read about it, the more you surround yourself with the success stories, the more you realize this is actually how, this is like a universal law.
Right. And the underpinning of Maxwell was his habits, right?
Yeah,
Good
totally.
habits.
It's a great
Good
example
habits.
of habit. Yeah. So I'm going to have to Wikipedia him because I don't know too much else about him, but yeah.
But I was going to say that I noticed there is this little element of magic as well that's involved in it. Like I totted up my expenses for last month, and you know, at the beginning of the book we set an intention, you know, that this is how much I want to earn a month, and I hit it last month. I hit it, and I actually am there. How did I?
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I did nothing. Like I did nothing extra. You know, I didn't work harder, you know, and it's like, wow, and it does feel a bit like, I did feel like it was that sort of infinite intelligence kind of going, see, you can do this, you can do this.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Very good. Excellent.
Oh, thanks for sharing that.
There's a little touch of magic in there that you don't even have to try and figure out what it is.
No, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Well done. That's cool.
But I've decided I'm going to put my target up higher now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. I was watching there's an English football manager, Scottish actually. I think I've mentioned him before, but Alex Ferguson. He's like the most successful English football manager ever in Britain. It's like he led Manchester United for 25 years, and they won like 37 trophies and like so many awards. And he's he retired when he was 70. They didn't want him to go. So I was really interested in what made him successful as a coach. And something he always did was he was constantly setting new targets. Like he would give his players, okay, you've got to get 20 goals in the next 5 matches. You're gonna make it happen, son. Okay, you're gonna get 20 goals in the next 5 matches. And whenever they won like the season, the league or championship, he would set the target for them to win again the next year, and to win it with even more of a margin. So he was constantly. Like just doing exactly what you just said, Geraldine, like setting a new target once he got one, which I think is pretty cool. So that
you should interview him.
Yeah, I'd love to. Yeah.
Do it.
Be neat.
We'll watch it.
Yeah.
Do it for us.
That's a good point, actually. I could reach out to him. I wonder.
That would be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think he must get a lot of requests though, because he.
Oh, pooey, just do it.
Yeah.
Right. There you go, Jackie.
Good call, Jackie. Okay, I will. Cool. Does anybody else want to share anything before we finish?
I like this chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting.
And the last one.
Yeah. So the spirit of it is basically that we can control our subconscious. We have to just be aware that we can, and take steps to do that. So like you can do that through
positive
suggestion.
Thoughts in our head.
Yeah, and through like getting the energy, the emotion of where we want to go. So, and then anything is possible.
And sending and receiving.
Yeah.
With the universe, right?
That we can hear things that are coming through. Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for reading, Glenn.
Yeah, nice work.
I was going to say Jack for a second. Like a combination of Glenn and Jackie. Cool. All right, everyone. Well, thanks so much, and see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye for watching. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.